Welcome back, guys. And tonight we've got a viewer requested video. We have the Falk copper skillet, not saute pan, versus the Clad D5. They wanted a comparison, so I got some tests set up. Let's go check it out. Alright guys, so before we get into this, let's go over what the pans are made of. So we have 2.3 millimeters of copper on the Falk, then 0.2 millimeters of a kind of a matte stainless steel liner. And then on the D5, we have alternating layers, 5, of stainless steel and aluminum with kind of a brush / shiny inside, which is not as good for hiding smudges and stuff as the matte. As for the dimensions, let's go and start with the Falk. Overall length is about 19 5/8 of an inch, which is never in focus, of course. And then the D5, you're looking at about 18 1/4. Actual pan size for the Falk, you're looking at about 11 1/2. And then for the D5, looking about 10 5/8 roughly at its widest point. Then as for the working pan size, looking about 9 3/8. And then on the D5, you're looking about 7 3/8. As for the Falk, looking at 5 pounds, 4.7 ounces, which is equivalent to 2.403 kilograms. And as for the D5, 2 pounds, 7.1 ounces, or 1.111 kilograms. Alright guys, as far as build quality goes, 3 rivets, 2 rivets, perfectly adequate, no issues, no flexing with that. As for the Falk, it does flex. Let me explain why. Remember, these are basically the same thickness, so more material will make it naturally more susceptible to flexing. This has a longer handle by like probably 1 inch or so. I haven't measured it, but it looks about 1 inch or so longer. So because it is a naturally softer material of mostly copper versus, you know, half stainless steel, half aluminum, copper is very soft. It will flex, the wall of it will, but it's perfectly safe, and I'm not even really concerned about it. This does take a little bit more force to flex, but not much. They're about to draw, but that does flex a little bit easier. So the biggest thing you need to look at here is going to be if you have any sort of an issue at all, excuse me, with weight, D5, because that is a very heavy pan, and manipulating that pan, moving around, it can be really difficult. Keep that in mind. Very big factor. So yeah, as far as build quality, they're both excellent. Durability is excellent. Just keep in mind, it's a heavy pan, but it is, the straight walls give you excellent working space. So just want to throw that in there. Alright guys, so for the first test, we'll be using the Falk. Again, same test will be done with the D5. Basically here, it's mostly going to be kind of subjective. I am going to time it from start to finish though, so it's not even on yet. So give an idea there, and we'll look at the browning, look at how well it cooked, how even it cooked. So I'll be back when it's finished. Alright, minute 20 seconds in, on kind of a medium-low flame. That is where we are at. So, just want to show you guys what's looking like so far. Alright guys, so about 7.5 minutes in, I want you to look at how even it's cooking. See that dead spot right there? And this is exactly centered. But other than that, that is how it's going. So, it's just about done. I'm going to wrap it up and I'll give you the final time. Alright guys, so after that time, this is what is left. indicating that there wasn't any excessive browning in one area. The overall cook, I would say it was fairly even heating. Over here was a dead spot. Again, guys, keep in mind, this is a big pan, and this is a smaller burner. So I even scooted over that way as much as possible, and there's still a dead spot right through here, but just kind of show you how it cooked. Yeah, the meat turned out good. The browning looked super consistent on it though, so not a huge difference there. But one of the biggest factors we're going to run into is going to be, it's a bigger pan, and that's something that I just can't get around. So I guess with that said, we're back for the D5. Alright guys, so here we are again. Everything's off. Again, I will time it, and I'll check back in. I will check back in at the 1 minute 20-second mark to see how it's heating up, and then check back later to see how it's cooking as far as evenness. So with that said, I'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, minute 20 seconds in. A little bit of action right there. Pretty calm though. We're probably about a minute and 30 seconds in now, but it is, you can definitely tell a slower heat up time. Even as right now though, looking at everything, it's kind of focused right here. It's not terrible, not at all. So yeah, guess I'll be back in just a minute. Alright guys, so 7.5 minutes in, it's behind. There's some pink there, and the inside of the meat is not going to be all the way cooked yet. One thing I am keeping in mind, yes, this technically is basically the same size skillet with a smaller surface area. That's something that is taken into consideration also, because that is a very big factor. With that said though, this is technically a smaller skillet, so the bottom is more full of grease. With that said, I mean, even without the grease in here, I can tell it's just slower. But cooking just fine though. As far as the evenness of the cook, looks pretty good through there. Dead spot through there again. So most likely it's not the skillet at this point. I've never really paid attention to that, but it seemed like it is. The evenness of the cook, honestly, I just feel like, I was looking at it, sorry, wasn't looking through the camera. Through here, it seems like it's, I may have to go back and look at the footage, but I don't think it's quite as boily through here. And again, this has a smaller bottom, so there's less excuse for it to not cook as even. Doesn't seem like it's quite as violent through here in that dead spot. I'm gonna ignore that though. But yeah, it just seems like it's not quite as even cooking, but still spectacular. So we'll be back when it's done. Alright guys, I've got it all out. And I actually didn't scrape that out. That's not stuck on. That's me. Bottom, everything looks basically the same as the Falk does. The browning of the meat was same, pretty even. And as I'm going to remind you guys, ignore on both skillets that dead spot right there. It happened on both skillets. That tells me that it's my setup. It didn't start till I moved here, so I don't know where that dead spot's coming from. I don't know if I've got a draft over here. It wouldn't be a heat sink from the handle because it's never done it before, so I don't know, but we'll just factor that out. Yeah, performance was basically the same. Yeah, so I guess with that said, let's get to the next test. Alright guys, so for this last test, what I'm doing is I'm using this stovetop, which I will most likely never use again because I don't like electric. I've got about a third of a pan of water, and we're doing a heat retention test where basically we're going to heat it up to boiling and see how long it takes to go down to 150 degrees. We'll do that for each one and see which one holds heat the longest. So with that said, back in a minute. Alright guys, so the tests are over. Time to wrap the video up. We'll start with that last test. Copper is much more conductive, so therefore cools off quicker than aluminum and much quicker than stainless steel. And the Falk has much more surface area than the D5. So why did they cool off consistently? 3 times I tested that. The same results every time. Why did it cool off at the same rates? The answer is I don't know. Except the D5, to be a third of the way full, actually held less water. Not a huge amount, but a little bit. The only thing I can think of. Otherwise, they're the same. When it comes to heating evenness, that Falk in my head is just a little bit better at the heating evenness. And honestly, that may be all it is just in my head. Do not let it be a deciding factor. They both heat extremely well. With that said, though, consistently since I've owned both those skillets, the Falk does heat up faster. 25-30% faster consistently. Well, of course, it's consistent. It does heat up faster. So that is a huge pro in the way of that pan. Yes, there's more maintenance because it's copper. You know, if you clean it, that is. Otherwise, you can let it patina. It's fine. The 2 aspects that we need to look at here, if you're looking at 2 skillets, is simple: capacity versus weight. Capacity-wise, the Falk walks all over that D5 for fitting chicken and stuff in. It's so much better. You get straight walls and a flat bottom. It's great. With that said, and this is a factor for most people, that Falk, I'm a healthy gentleman, right? Pretty healthy, workout. That Falk is really hard to manipulate, move around, sling around, put up, do this and that. It's cast iron heavy. It's really, really heavy. Copper is not a light element. So that is probably a deal breaker for a lot of people. Along with the price tag of $300 for that skillet versus $125, $150 for the D5. So what I'm going to say is that if you're looking solely at capacity and you're looking at a nice skillet, just excessively nice, the Falk's your pan. If you want a day-to-day skillet that's going to do what you need, be durable, last forever, be cheap, be able to get anywhere, and frankly most people have, oh man, the D5 by far. You know, they're both great skillets. It's going to come down to your budget and your need of capacity versus weight. Capacity, the Falk destroys it. Weight, the D5 destroys it. So it comes down to what you need. Me personally, I'd get the Falk every time. That's because I don't have issues with weight. So with that said, this has been quite the lengthy video, and I want to thank every one of you that are still around for watching. It's a new apartment, so a lot of stuff to shoot. I spent 2 hours finding this position to shoot this outro on. It was a nightmare. With that said, though, I want to thank all of you for watching again. Got any questions for me? Put them in the comments. If they want to review or try, put them in the comments. With that said, thank you guys very much for watching. You have a good night.